with ecosystem health. The talk today will highlight the latest trends shaping pest management, such as the influence of climate change and eco-friendly practices to technological innovations and shifting of consumer preferences, while offering insights into the future of integrated sustainable pest control. Next, I will briefly introduce the speaker. Dr. Pramod Katti is a professor of agricultural entomology at the University of Agricultural Sciences, UAS, Raichur, currently serving as director at EMPRI, Government of Karnataka. He holds a PhD in agricultural entomology from UAS, Dharwad, and has over 30 years of experience in teaching, research, extension, and administration. He has led or contributed to 21 research projects worth over 14.82 crore and has over 95 scientific publications. His notable work includes the development of 20 technologies under AICRP and the promotion of drill zone rice technology in Raichur district, benefiting over 80,000 hectares. Dr. Katti has served in several key academic administrative roles at US Raichur, including Director, Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Comptroller, and Public Relations Officer. He was instrumental in securing NARC and ICAR accreditations and establishing a community radio station at the university. He is recipient of multiple national awards, including Lifetime Achievement Award, IARDO, National Education Excellence Award, and Golden Aim Award for Leadership in Education. He is a fellow of several academic institutions and has represented India in international conferences in Israel and Dubai. We are delighted to have Dr. Katti with us today, and I now invite them to share their insights on latest technologies in insect pest management.
Yeah, good morning, Adish. Am I audible?
Good morning. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the good introduction. Just I will begin my presentation. I will share it.
Sir.
Yeah, the slides are visible. Mr. Adish, the slides are visible.
Yes, sir, they are
yes,
visible.
Yeah, shall I go ahead?
Yes.
Yes.
Please make it the slideshow presentation.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
I sincerely thank the Future Earth Research Innovation Sustainability, the DCCC Center for Climate Change and Indian Institute of Science for providing me an opportunity here to be a part of Science Awareness Webinar Series 13. Well, as it has been informed by Mr. Adish, so I will be today speaking about some of the important latest technologies in insect pest management. The field of pest control, has undergone remarkable transformations over the year. With this technological changing, actually the pest management has also become very important. And as pests continue to adopt and evolve, it's still challenging. So there should be innovative solutions for both effective and environmentally sustainable technologies that should be taken up in the field. So with this brief introduction, I will just begin my presentation. Just to brief about the pest, what exactly the pest is. It is an organism that causes economic damage, annoyance, or health hazards to humans, crops, livestock, or any other valued products. So that it may be insect or a disease-causing organism. We call it in general as a pest. However, now today I am concentrating mostly on the insect pests. So insect pests, when they are causing losses to the crop, they need to be managed or they need to be controlled. Otherwise, they are going to harm us economically. So just a brief about the history of the insects. So the insects appear around 480 million years ago. Probably they are co-evolved with the terrestrial plants. whereas human beings are evolved just about 6 to 7 million years ago. So you can just imagine how the insects are diverse and very important creatures on this universe. Insects existed well before the evolution of the human beings, and they continue to feed on plants till then. From that day itself till today, they are being fed on the major plants. When human beings started the agriculture, or they started cultivation as his hobby or for his livelihood, he noticed these insects to harm the crops. So he started thinking about the managing these insects or controlling these insects. That's how the pest management or the insect management of the insect control has been initiated. So just imagine whether this kind of a technology or the pest management is of recent origin. No, it is not. As I said, the pests, insects as well as the plants, they evolved together. The insects started feeding on the plants from their origin itself, or from the evolution itself. In the beginning, way back in 2500 BC, the sulfur compounds were used against insects and mites. Similarly, 1500 BC, around that, the cultural practice of the insect pest management were used. Similarly, the botanical insecticides and fungicides were evolved, oil sprays were done, something like that. So several technologies started evolving right from the day one, when the human being started realizing the importance of the crop and the insect pests. So scientists discovered the dairies and pyrothrums as the botanical insecticides. Later, the biological control methods were evolved, lead arsenate, synthetic organic compounds, etc. were evolved. And of course, the beneficial insects in the form of predators and parasitoids were also taken part of the management strategy in the initial years. So the very important thing that we should note is the evolution of DDT, or the invention of the DDT by Zedler in 1889. Followed by that, probably the Paul Muller, who used this DDT on insects or in the agriculture field in the year 1939. Till then, the problems were actually not noticed or highlighted, but after the invention of this DDT and the mass use of this particular DDT in the public, in the war field, in the agriculture, in the various domains, the problems associated with the chemicals has started. So just to inform you that nearly about 40% of the global crop production is already lost to these insect pests, when we take the FAO estimate into consideration. And each year, plant diseases cost the global economy to around $220 billion, and invasive insect costs insects at least about $70 billion. So over the past 3 decades, yearly pesticide use averaged about 1.5 kg per hectare, 0.37 kg per person, and 0.7 kg per $1,000 of agricultural production. So pesticide use in India has risen significantly, with a notable increase in from 40,000 tons to 63,000 tons in 21-22 statistics. Yeah, probably you may notice or you might have seen this lady, a very important personality in the field of environmental sciences, Raichur. She wrote a book called Silent Spring, which is an environmental science book published in the year 1962. In this book, she documented the environmental harms caused by the indiscriminate use of this particularly DDT and a pesticide used by soldiers during the World War II. So after this, actually, the people started thinking about the various ill effects or the health hazards of the pesticide use in India. Maybe a pesticide poisoning, not only in India and across the world or across the globe. If you just take the figures of the India, nearly about 145 million cases, resulting in about 10,000 deaths happen annually because of this pesticide poisoning. And long-term effects, which are like neurological damage, reproductive issues, cancer, birth defects, immune system suppression, and so on and so forth. And mostly the children or the vulnerable groups which are affected by the development of the brains, nerves, and other bodily parts. So even the pesticides can cross the placenta and can be transferred to the breast milk. So as well, we have the occupational hazards, soil contamination, results in climate change in various ways, disrupted ecosystem, water pollution, pesticide drift, runoff, harm to the non-target organisms like the birds, insects, predatory birds, insects, fishes, and other wildlife. Also getting the resistance of pesticide, bioaccumulation, and biomagnification of all these products. So these are some of the important happenings that are going to be with the indiscriminate use of these pesticides, and which are environmentally causing severe problems to the humankind and to the flora and fauna of this universe. So when we think about the conventional insect pest management strategies, so far we are very much aware of the cultural methods, the mechanical practices, the botanical pesticides, the biological methods, host plant resistance, and the chemical methods. So I don't want to go into the details of all these things. What is cultural method? What are the practices, mechanical, botanical, and all? So they are all very elementary, and I don't want to discuss at this juncture. So mainly the chemical methods, which has been one of the final product in the, especially in the Indian agriculture scenario. People depend more on the chemical method of control, so thereby leading to several problems that we are facing today because of these indiscriminate use of chemicals. So coming to the important technologies, which we can say are the latest technologies in pest management, probably the genetic engineering that plays a vital role or an important role in the management of these insect pests in several ways. So you can say the changes in the genetic constitution of the cell by introduction or elimination of a specific gene using a molecular biology techniques. Usually the approaches like the cry proteins. So these cry proteins, they are used in Bt crops like Bt cotton, Bt corn to control the agricultural pests. So insecticide, they are nothing but the insecticidal toxins produced by the bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis, and the cry protein accumulate as a crystalline inclusions within the Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria during the sporulation. So these things are used in the pest management, especially in the field of cotton and the corns. Similarly, we have the vegetative insecticidal proteins, which are called as WIPs, are also a family of proteins that are produced by the bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis during its vegetative growth. WIP proteins are secreted into the growth medium and have insecticidal activity against many pests. And there are three types of or subfamilies of WIP proteins, like WIP1, WIP2, and WIP3. See here, I'm not going to into the details of each and every technology, because if I start speaking about each technology, probably it may take one hour for that. So I'm just want to highlight and give you the information about what are the principles or the practices or the methodologies or the technologies that are being adopted in the pest management recently. So similarly, in the genetic engineering part, the lectins, which are carbohydrate binding proteins with significant potential in insect pest management due to their inherent toxicity, acting as biopesticides by inhibiting insect growth, development, and survival. They are primarily used by expressing lectins in transgenic plants or through direct application. So their mode of action involves binding to a specific carbohydrate in the insect midgut, disrupting the gut function and inducing cellular damage and the death. Yeah, how these lectins work against insects? As I already told you, binding to the midgut receptors. These lectins recognize and bind to the specific carbohydrate structures, particularly the glycoproteins and the chitin-rich areas like the insect midgut's peritrophic membrane, and later disruption of the gut function. This binding disrupts the epithelial cell of the midgut, increasing gut permeability and leading to harmful substances entering the insect's hemolymph. So the ingested lectins can interfere with the digestion, reduce the larval weight, and decrease overall survival and reproductive success of the insect. So lectins can trigger the prolonged cell death in insect cells, characterized by bleeding, shell shrinkage, and the DNA fragmentation. So we can also think about the proteinase inhibitors, which we can call them as the PIs. In the plant biology, proteinase inhibitors are a family of small proteins that serve an integral role in the plant's defense mechanism against herbivory of insects. The proteinase inhibitors work to disrupt the enzymatic ability of the digestive or the microbial enzymes that are present in the stomach of the attacker, resulting in the inability to properly digest the plant material. This causes an interference of the proper growth and discourages the further wounding of the plant by the attacker. So we also have the metabolomics. So metabolomics is the large-scale study of small molecules, commonly known as metabolites, within cells, biofluids, tissues, or the organisms. Collectively, these small molecules and their interactions within a biological system are known as metabolome. So how this metabolome help in, or it is applied in the management of the insect pests. So we need to understand insect resistance. The metabolomics can reveal the molecular mechanisms behind an insect's resistance to existing biocontrol agents or the pesticides, allowing for the development of long-lasting pest management strategies. Studies of microbes like Bacillus thuringiensis have shown that the specific metabolite, such as delta endotoxins, have strong insecticidal properties and can be used in biopesticide formulations. By analyzing the metabolic profiles of plants and identifying defense-related metabolites that are activated by the insect attacks, new resistant cultivars can be developed against the insects. So metabolomic analysis can track the impact of agricultural practices on beneficial insects such as pollinators, helping to ensure sustainable agriculture. So it helps to understand how insects respond to the various stresses, especially the cold or against the pathogens, and interact with their symbiotic microbes, providing insights into their survival and adaptation mechanisms. So also we have a technology called CRISPR-Cas technology. The CRISPR here, it means the clustered, regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. It's a family of DNA sequences found in the genomes of prokaryotic organisms such as bacteria. And this Cas9 is an enzyme that uses CRISPR sequences as a guide to recognize and open up specific strands of DNA that are complementary to the CRISPR sequence. So CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing has been used to create insect-resistant plants and modify the insects. So also we have the genetically modified insects. You know, not only the technology that has been input into the plants, but we can also have this genetically modified technology into the breeding the genetically modified insects. Insect is these GM insects, an insect that has been genetically transformed either through mutagenesis or more precise process of transgenesis or cisgenesis. The use of GM insects represents a novel and innovative tool to address the insect-borne diseases of humans and crop pest losses. So insects are genetically modified by injecting DNA-carrying desired genes into their early stages, eggs and embryos, often using a transposon-based system to integrate the new DNA into the insect's genome. So thereby, now we have the GM diamondback moth, genetically modified pink bollworm, and genetically modified fruit flies. The first genetically modified mosquitoes released in the United States in 2021, and the first field release of genetically engineered self-limiting agricultural insects is a diamondback moth. So these, in addition to these, the several natural enemies also have been genetically modified and developed. Also, the genetic engineering of entomopathogenic creatures like baculoviruses, bacteria, entomopathogenic fungi, and nematodes. So what are the advantages of these things if you look at it? So they give the improved climatic tolerance, improved host finding ability or the host searching ability, insecticide resistance, and changing the sex ratio. So these are some of the important technologies that are being modified with the help of the genetic engineering. Also, we have one more, that is RNA interface. The method of blocking gene function by inserting a short sequence of double-stranded ribosomic nucleic acid, ribonucleic acid, that match part of the target mRNA sequence. Thus, no proteins are produced in this. So why we should go for these RNA interfaces means, so they reduce the dependence on the chemical pesticides, reduce the cost of production, precise and reliable, effective management of the target insect pests. So some of the examples, if you take the silencing of chitin synthase, a gene in Sporoptera litura using RNAi approach, and also the oral delivery of double-stranded RNAs induces mortality in nymphs and adults of the Asian citrus psyllid, that is Raichur citri. So these are some of the important examples for this particular technology. Well, now we move on to another important technology that has been used, especially in the field of monitoring of the insect pests. We have the remote sensing, we have the acoustic sensors technology. So you know the remote sensing nowadays has been used in most of the fields. So also in the field of the insect identification, insect management, and insect monitoring and insect management has been used. So this remote sensing is used in insect management to monitor pest activity and environmental conditions remotely, enabling early detection, forecasting, and precise management of pest outbreaks. So the techniques like the satellite imagery, drone-based sensors, and the radars are employed to analyze the spectral data from the vegetation and the atmospheric conditions to identify the stress, track insect population, and to map the habitat. So this data, often integrated with the GIS, helps farmers to plan the targeted actions like pesticide application or the biocontrol or the reducing costs and improving the precision agriculture. Similarly, we have the acoustic sensors. Acoustic sensors are a device that detects and records the sounds. So here, the detecting the sounds of insects make during their activity, like the movement, feeding, and mating. So these sounds captured by the microphones or other acoustic transducers are processed to filter out noise and identify pest-specific acoustic signatures using the AI and machine learning. This enables precise and continuous monitoring, allowing the farmers to apply targeted pest control measures, reduce the pesticide use, and improve crop quality in a more cost-effective and eco-friendly way. Particularly, this particular technology is used in the stored products or the stored pest management and the precision farming applications. Well, we have another important technology called sterile insect technology. This is also very shortly called as a SIT technology. SIT. This has been developed by Nippling, E of Nippling, and this SIT is a species-specific and environmentally non-polluting method of insect control that relies on the release of large number of sterile insects. So mating of released sterile males, mainly these insects are made sterile by the use of the irradiation technology with the gamma rays or the X-rays with the native females when they mate, or leads to the decrease in the female reproductive potential, and ultimately, if males are released in sufficient numbers over a sufficient period of time, to the local elimination of the or the suppression of the pest population can be achieved. So this is very much demonstrated in the case of a screwworm fly that is called as Cochleomia honiorax in the United States. The success of this control measure has been very much demonstrated in the later part of the 20th century. Yeah, a very important technology is the insect pheromones. You know the pheromones. The insect pheromones are usually the neurotransmitters that serve the chemical communication. They are the means of the chemical communication between the sexes and between individuals of an insect species. Insects produce pheromones in special glands and release them into the environment. In the pheromone receptors of the sensory cells of the recipient, they produce a nerve stimulus even in a very low concentrations, which ultimately leads to the behavioral response in the opposite sex. So use of these pheromones in insect pest management has been usually been done in a very extensive way. The pheromones work differently than the other insecticides. Instead of disrupting the pest biochemistry, the pheromones work by disrupting the natural mating cycle of the pests. So this is very important. They disrupt the natural mating cycle of the pests. Sex pheromones are chemicals released by female insects into the air and attract male insects during the mating season. So these pheromones are used in monitoring, mating disruption, and mass trapping. So the pest management is a special reference to the mating disruption. So as I told you already, these pheromones are being used in monitoring, mass trapping, and mating disruption. So what is this mating disruption is? It is an integrated pest management technique that uses synthetic sex pheromones to confuse and prevent male insects from finding and mating with the females, thus interrupting the reproductive cycle and reducing the insect populations. So why these are supposed to be popular or more advantageous over the other traditional or conventional methods means these mating disruption technology or the pheromones are very safe, they're completely non-toxic, safe to the humans, pets, and the environment. And also they leave a very, very less quantity of residues because only less than 1% of the crop comes into contact with this particular pheromones. And of course, it is a very proactive control pests before they become a problem. And of course, they are species specific, only affects the target pests. Also, the soil and water systems are unaffected. There will not be any much of environmental issues or the problems arising out of this mating disruption technology. However, the conventional pesticides are risks to the soil and water system. Of course, long field life, no risk of resistance development in this case. So the continuation to the same thing, there is a technology called SPLAT. What is this SPLAT? This is a specialized pheromone and lure application technology, which is in very simply called as SPLAT. It refers to two distinct concepts, a specialized control and a release technology. It's a technology that lowers production by preventing mating, attracting and killing the target insects and repelling it. So this is actually a wax-based product, disturbs the mating due to prolonged release of pheromones over a time period of 2 weeks to 6 months. So the multiple methods of application, it is easy to apply, small scale and with the large scale operations, adjustable strategies, season-long protection, and mixes the pheromones and other feeding stimulants with this. So in this case, a large-scale demonstration, a trial, has been done at the University of Agricultural Sciences, Raichur, in the farmers field in the year 2017, 18, 18, 19, and still the research is going on in this angle. So it has really revealed that the application of the SPLAT to the PBW, that is pink bollworm of cotton. So this wax-based formulation at 500 grams per acre resulted in 80 to 90% reduction in the pest menace with 10 to 12 quintals of yield benefits. This is one of the important result that has come out of the research on this particular aspect. So also we have a cremit technology. What is this cremit? So this cremit is nothing but the It's a pheromone-based formulation for mating pink bollworm in cotton. So it's a mating disruptant that applied as a small quantity as it develops on the branch axils, preferably 6 inches below the crop canopy. You can say it is just something like a toothpaste. It is like a toothpaste, and the quantity that you put it on the toothbrush while brushing, the same technology is adopted here and called as a dollop, and it is put onto the branch axils, preferably 6 inches below the crop canopy. The first application can be 30 to 35 days after sowing, and this cremit PBW mating disruption solution offers more than 90% control of damage caused by the cotton pest. So you know what is this pink bollworm is. So it's a very important pest on cotton, causing nearly about 50 to 60% yield loss in the cotton area. So this pink bollworm causes about 2.8 to 61.9% loss in the seed cotton yield, and up to 48% in the oil content, and 59% loss in the normal opening of the balls. So this particular insect pest developed a resistance, which is a major constraint or the concern in the pest management. So this pink bollworm has developed resistance to the BT cotton as well as to the insecticides. So therefore, there is a need to develop a novel and eco-friendly and effective area-wide management tool. So this resistance is developed because of the continuous planting of the BT cotton, very low adoption of the non-BT, and cultivation of long-duration cultivars, and unapproved and unauthorized BT cottons or BT seeds grown here and there. So this mating disruption technology, which we call it as a cremit, is nothing but the controlled release emission mating interruption technique. So this mating disruption tool again with the another technology called PB knot, that is PB knot, pink bollworm knot, overstimulates male of pink bollworm, deterring males from mating with the female moths. These are safer to natural enemies, species specific, and manage resistance in the cotton ecosystem. So this particular technology, especially the cremit as well as this PB rope or the PB knot, has been tried again at the University of Agricultural Sciences Raichur in the farmers field in the extensive area, wherein this cremit was applied totally at the rate of 500 grams per acre at 400 source points per acre, and in 4 split applications. Similarly, this it's a field view of that particular cotton experiment, and this is how the cremit is put here. It's a source point. Yeah. Similarly, the PB knot, pink bollworm knot technology, which is actually a mating disruption formulation, polyethylene tube supported with aluminum wire containing gossip lure. A gossip lure is embedded in this aluminum wire, and they are tied or knotted into the plants nearly from the 30 to 35 days onwards. And this particular technology has also been demonstrated in the farmers field in the Raichur area. So when you compare these two technologies, cremit PBW and PB knot, they have sufficiently a high percentage of mating disruption recorded compared to the other management practices. And as well, this cremit and PB knot recorded a good number of the natural enemies in the field compared to the other conventional and control plots. And when you talk about the economic analysis of these two technologies, they have given nearly 2.49 and 2.28 benefit to cost ratio with high net returns. So that's what I want to say here is the cremit PBW and the PB knot technologies are environmentally safe, and they yield higher returns, and also they are safer to the natural enemies, and they can be used very easily compared to the conventional pesticides or the chemicals. So in summary of this particular trial, mating disruption tools were found to be effective with less green boll damage. That's about 5.9 and 8.38% locule damage, and 7.4 and 10.3 from the cremit and PB knot respectively. So significant mating disruption was also reported up to an extent of 80.3% from the cremit PBW treated plots. Ultimately, the higher yields with the remunerative benefit cost ratio of 2.49 has been obtained. That is suitability of this particular tool in the management of the pink bollworm. Yeah, we have one more technology that has been used nowadays in the agri ecosystem is the application of the drone sprayers. Yeah, the majority of the research on UAV, that is unmanned aerial vehicles for pesticide spray in crops, was carried out in rice, wheat, corn, cotton, pepper, sugarcane, and several other crops. So these are equipped with a computer vision AI, make it possible to automate spraying of pesticides uniformly across the field with a real-time recognition of target spraying areas. UAV sprayers are also able to operate with high precision, both in terms of area and amount to be sprayed. This significantly reduces the risk of contamination to the crops, to the human, animals, and water resources, and help in insect pest management very efficiently. So this is again a trial that has been conducted in US Raichur. So these are all some of the benefits of this technology. So there will not be human intervention. A small and fragmented fields show a potential for requirement of these in agriculture sector. Cloudy weather, intermittent rainfall, and short period drones can be very, very well used, and it saves time, covers a larger area, and accessibility to the hard reach areas in the field. So with these things, trials were carried out at US Raichur using the drones for the spraying of these pesticides. So these are all some of the drones, hexacopter drone mounted sprayers used in the field studies. So when the study was made with the help of the mounted sprayers, drone mounted sprayers, and these knapsack sprayers and power sprayers, the results clearly indicated that the drone-mounted sprayers have given the higher PC ratio compared to the traditional knapsack sprayers and the motorized sprayers. This technology is very important, and probably it needs to be taken up, because here we are using a very low concentration of the very low quantity of the insecticides, and these insecticides are developed especially for the drone usage, and since it is having less environmental issues, it can be very well popularized. Because of several problems associated with the government level, the technology has not been picked up or taken up very massively. But however, in due course of time, probably the drones may become the very useful management technology for the spraying of these chemicals on the crops. So also we have a computer vision systems and image processing using artificial intelligence techniques. That is, machine learning and artificial neural networks have been widely used to solve the agricultural problems. So image-based recognition of insect pests have been proposed in entomology also. The faster reason-based convolutional neural networks is a unified deep CNN for target detection and identification in images, including feature detections, candidate regional generation, regional image classification, and location refinement. So different apps have been developed or launched for identification of insect pests on different crops, like artificial intelligence-based mobile apps for identification, and mainly the advisory. You cannot directly control, but you can advise the farmers to take up the control measures or the management strategies. And another app is Plantix, a mobile crop advisory for the farmers, extension workers, and to the gardeners. This Plantix was developed by PEAT and a Berlin-based AI startup. The app claims to diagnose pest damage, plant diseases, and nutrient deficiencies affecting crops and offer corresponding treatment measures. So also we know the importance of the nano technology in the modern days. So this nanotechnology is one of the emerging cutting-edge technology having an interdisciplinary approach between the material science, physics, chemistry, biology, and whatnot. So this particular nanotechnology has applications in almost all sectors like healthcare, biology, agriculture, energy, electronics, communication, and all. So similarly, in the field of agriculture also, or in the field of pest management, this nanotechnology has been very well adopted. So in reality, the nanotechnology lies in about 0.1 to 100 nanometer size of the particles. This nanometric size is responsible for the magnificent properties of the material, mainly owing to their higher surface area to volume ratio. So the nano insecticides are synthesized by employing innovative techniques of nanotechnology and are aimed to strengthen the efficacy and bring down the environmental contamination with the pesticides. So these nanoinsecticides formulations are characterized by their ingredients in a nanometer size and consist of the organic or the inorganic compounds. So what are the different types of nanoinsecticides that have been used in the field or in the agriculture? So the chemicals impregnated in the nanoemulsions, nanosuspensions, nanocapsules, nanoparticles, and nanogels. So these are all being developed and they have been used in the field very recently, but it needs the popularity or popularization through various extension works. The main aim of the nano formulation is to enhance the efficacy, controlled release of the active ingredient, ensuring safety of the products to the environment. Yeah, some of the advantages of these nanopesticides over the conventional insecticides or the pesticides, they improve the pesticide stability, improve the pesticide bioavailability to the crop and to the insects, high dispersibility, reduction in pesticide requirement, and it improves the leaf adhesion and penetration, and it is also an eco-friendly approach. So these are some of the important technologies that have been used in the insect pest management, especially with respect to the nanopesticides. The unscientific use of the conventional insecticides resulted in several problems like insecticide resistance, resurgence, and the residue in grains. Thus, there is an increasing level of awareness among the people towards the comparatively residue-free food. by using nanopesticides, the requirement of active ingredients intended for the pest control is considerably reduced, and hence the residue problem will be very less. So some of the nano pesticides that have been used in the insect pest management, like the silver nanoparticles, eucalyptus oil emulsions, nano imamectin benzoate, silver and zinc oxide nanoparticles, nano emulsions of malathion, diazinon, chlorpyrifos, nano emulsions of chlorpyrifos, malathion, nano emulsions of neem oil, lambda cyhalothrin, nano dispersions, and chlorantraniliprole solid nano dispersions. Some of these nano formulations have already been developed, and they have been tested against the various insect pests, mainly in the field of the storage grain pest, especially the Calcobragus maculatus of the Trichogramma granarium, Pseudophilus oryzae, Tribolium castaneum, and all. And also in the field against the tribe Spodoptera littoralis, Helicoverpa armigera, Rutella xylostella. These important pests have been already targeted with the nanopesticides, and the scientists have found out very good results. And these nanopesticides are going to be the future of the pest management, especially in the bird, and probably we need to develop, or we need to give a scope for the production of these things and to mass use of these particular nanochemicals in the field, so that we can achieve the better results with respect to the environmental safety and management. Also, we have some of the IoT connected traps. These are all only for the monitoring. We may not directly control the pests or manage the pests here, but they are the device of monitoring the insect pests. These traps use sensors and cameras to detect and identify the pests and sending the real-time data to the pest control professionals. AI-powered image recognition. AI algorithms can analyze images from traps or drones to identify pests and assess the infestation level, enabling targeted treatment strategies. And also, as I told you, the remote monitoring, wherein IoT device can monitor pest activity and environmental conditions, allowing for timely interventions and reducing the need for the manual checks. So with this brief information about some of the important technologies that have been emerged nowadays and which are actually being followed in various fields of pest management. Now, if we think about what is the future or the prospects of these particular technologies. In fact, you know the technology called integrated pest management, wherein most of the available technologies are fused into one technology and they have been adopted in the field. In fact, all these possible technology which we have told or which we have discussed so far can be very much well suited into the integrated pest management strategy, which is a holistic approach that combines the biological, cultural, physical, chemical, and whatnot. All the technologies, maybe genetic engineering or maybe the methane disruption technology, whatever it is, all can be significantly contribute and impregnated into one technology called integrated pest management. And the integrated pest management modules can be developed on area-specific or location-specific modules, and that can be used in the management of the insects, especially in the farmers' field. Increasing the adoption of biopesticides through incentives, research, and infrastructure development is a key strategy for reducing chemical pesticides use and its negative impacts. And also the strengthening regulations and enforcement in crucial to control the sale and use of these banned and harmful pesticides and ensure adherence to the safety standards. Investing in farmer training and awareness programs to educate them on the most of these important latest technologies, how to handle them, how to work with them in the field, what are the appropriate application techniques, and what are the benefits of this alternative use should be known to the farming community through several various awareness programs and the training programs, or the capacity building programs. Thereby, we can achieve the best pest management. Leveraging technologies like drones, satellites, AI, and sensor-based IoT can enable precise pesticide applications, minimize the drift, and facilitate real-time monitoring of pesticide use and impact. The policy reforms that incentivize sustainable agricultural practices and discourage the pesticide dependency are critical for the achieving a healthier and a more sustainable agricultural system in India. So addressing these issues require a multi-pronged approach involving a policy, a technology, an education, and a community engagement to ensure sustainable and safe agricultural practices in India. So these are all some of the important technologies that I have highlighted and probably maybe of some use. I have not given the exhaustive the technology that is beyond these important technologies, but however, I could give only the glimpses of these very short information. Probably the students who are interested can go into the details of each and every technology and how it actually being done and how it is being helpful in the management of insect pests. Insect pests need to be studied by yourself. So this is what I wanted to tell you today. And with this, I thank especially the Future Earth, Divecha Center for Climate Change and Indian Institute of Science for giving me an opportunity to talk on this science awareness webinar number 13. So I thank the team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your talk was so insightful that I think we haven't had much of questions. We learned so much about the different types of pest management, like the reduction of mating of the insects, and but one of the questions that I had was that how do you differentiate between good insects and insects which are pests? Won't all the insects get affected if the insecticide is used? This is just general question that I have.
Yeah, it's actually like this. The one which we feed on the crops, which feed on the crops are called as insect pests. So they are actually detrimental to the crop. But whereas there are insects which are also natural enemies, we call them as natural enemies. They are called predators or the parasitoids. They do not feed on the crop, but instead they feed on the insects. So that's how we can very well differentiate between them. And most of these chemicals which we spray against the insects, targeting insects, probably sometimes, whether knowingly or unknowingly, we are also going to kill the predators and parasitoids, which are beneficial to the human beings. So the latest, these technologies are targeted towards that. They are very specific to the target organism, and they are not going to kill the predators or the parasitoids. That is very important. Nowadays, we need to think about that. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Are there any other questions? This is to the audience. You have attended here the session, and if you have any questions, please raise your hand. I think you have the option to do that. Madhusudan, they have the options to do that?
Yeah. The audience can raise their hand. I can unmute them.
Sir, I think you have been very clear with your talk, and I think that where there's so much of information within the talk that they are processing it, and maybe they will contact you if they have please if they have some queries. Can you please share your email ID in the chat if at all they can?
Yeah, I will give my mobile number as well as email ID. Yeah, this is my mobile number as well as email ID. So they are free to contact me anytime. If they are here in Bangalore, they can come to the EMPRI anytime, and we can have a discussion on the pest management and other issues. So whatever I have told today, they are just only the glimpses and the important features of the latest technologies. It's not possible to cover the entire process and mechanism of all those things. Anyway, it is left to the learners or left to the people to go into the details of that and study in detail. Thank you.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Madhusudan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the insightful talk, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Shall I leave?
Yes, sir. I think we can conclude today's session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.